Welcome back, Chaos Connoisseurs. Buckle up, because today's compilation proves that some people don't just cross the line, they sprint past it and set the bridge on fire. We've got 9 stories where the find-out phase of life hits like a freight trap. Grab your headphones and settle in. OP has lived in this chill duplex for 5 years, vibing in their second-floor sanctuary. It was a whole mood, quiet, peaceful, and perfect for the work-from-home grind. But then the vibe shift happened. A sweet 80-year-old grandma moved in next door with her 2 iconic cats and her absolute NPC of a grandson. Let's call him Junior. Junior is quite frankly a walking red flag. He's out here boxing with life and losing, fueled by kratom and enough alcohol to drown a frat house. OP tried to be a literal saint, giving him grace because everyone has their demons, right? But then, the plot thickened in the worst way. OP saw Grandma with a black eye. She pulled the "I walked into a door" card, but we all know that's cap. Junior is a former boxer. Junior disappeared for a minute, probably a state-funded vacation or rehab, and the peace was immaculate. OP was living their best life on the balcony garden, no screaming in sight. But then, as the prophecy goes, somehow Palpatine returned. The screaming matches started back up, echoing through the central vent that connects their bathrooms like a portal to hell. This morning, OP woke up to Junior's toxic energy and decided that peace was never an option. OP grabbed their Bluetooth speaker, checked the battery life, and queued up the ultimate weapon of mass destruction, the Barney theme song. They shoved that speaker right against the vent and cranked "I love you, you love me" to a deafening, soul-crushing volume. Now, every time Junior tries to start his aggressive main character monologue, he's met with the high-pitched, terrifyingly cheerful vocals of a prehistoric purple dinosaur. OP doesn't even care if their Spotify Wrapped is ruined forever. They are committed to the bit. If you want to act like a giant toddler and throw tantrums, don't be surprised when your neighbors treat you like one and put on your favorite cartoons. OP was trapped in the trenches of State Street Bank in Boston, working for a manager named Paula. Now, Paula wasn't just a mid-boss, she was the CEO of Toxicity. She ran a mushroom farm, keeping everyone in the dark and feeding them straight-up garbage. OP was out here doing high-stakes reports on Nigerian oil warrants, dealing with millions of dollars in liability, but Paula didn't care about the numbers. She just wanted to rip OP a new one every single week over the font, the vibes, and the verbiage. One day, OP is scrolling through the archives and finds the Holy Grail, Paula's old files from back when she was a lowly analyst. OP decided to choose violence. They copied Paula's old format, her exact wording, and her specific structure. When OP walked into her office with the report, Paula absolutely lost it. She went on a full-blown Karen rant, calling it the worst thing OP had ever submitted and claiming it was basically unreadable. OP just sat there with a blank stare, letting her finish her tantrum before dropping the nuke. "Actually, I used your exact format and language from a few years ago. Here are the receipts." The silence was deafening. Paula looked like her brain had just hit a 404 error. She realized she'd spent 10 minutes calling her own work trash. She had to sign off on it anyway because of the deadline, effectively admitting her own perfect standards were a total lie. OP didn't stop there. They saved every single template she ever made into a private folder. For the rest of their time there, OP played a game of cat and mouse, using Paula's own past work just to watch her struggle to find a reason to hate it. When she tried to delete the evidence, OP revealed they'd already made a local backup. Back in the day, OP was holding it down as a shift manager in a UK McDonald's when a family of professional chaos creators decided to turn the dining area into their personal fever dream. These kids weren't just being loud, they were literally out here finger painting with ketchup on the walls and sticking pre-chewed fries under the table like it was some kind of cursed art installation. And the mom? She was just vibing, letting the anarchy happen without saying a single word. But karma works in mysterious ways, and she left a little parting gift. Her purse and 4 cinema tickets right in the middle of the crime scene. OP saw the vision immediately. Instead of playing hero, OP decided to match their energy. OP grabbed a bin bag and swept the entire mess trash, half-eaten burgers, and those precious tickets into a bag of literal filth, even seasoning it with some extra food waste from the kitchen for that authentic, dumpster-chic aroma. When the mother came storming back 45 minutes later, frantic because the movie was starting soon, OP played it so cool it was Sub-Zero. OP told her exactly where the mess went and pointed her toward the bin area. When she had the absolute nerve to ask OP to dig through it for her, OP gave her a hard no and left her to face the consequences of her own parenting. The visual is iconic. This woman, who thought she was too good to clean a table, was now elbow-deep in old fries and ketchup handprints, desperately hunting for her tickets while her movie clock was ticking. OP even dropped a final chirpy, "Maybe don't let your kids be menaces to society next time," before sashaying back inside. If you treat the world like your personal trash can, don't be surprised when you have to go diving into it to find your dignity. OP was out here living her best, and slightly chaotic life in a high-stakes international setting, basically carrying the entire domestic infrastructure on her back while her roommate/boyfriend, the Swedish lout, or TSL, just existed as a professional vibes ruiner. OP was the one securing the bag, finding the villa, and making friends with the neighbors, while TSL was obsessed with weird routines and insisting they have separate footlockers. Like, okay, keep your secret socks, bestie. But then things went from, we're just not vibing, to straight-up villain arc when TSL literally grabbed the breakfast toast out of OP's hand and mashed it into her face. The audacity? It's giving playground bully. OP dipped to a hotel to reclaim her peace, and while she was there, she got the most life-altering notification ever. She was pregnant. When she moved back to their villa, the energy was beyond rancid. TSL had moved to a roof shed like a gargoyle, and things peaked when he literally kicked through a glass door while OP was bathing, just because he didn't want to wait his turn. OP ended up with stitches and a heart full of pure, unadulterated spite. She decided to terminate the pregnancy, but she didn't tell him. Instead, she played the long game. Knowing TSL was a sneaky little investigator, OP planted the positive test results in her unlocked footlocker like a trap for a particularly dumb mouse. He found it. He came to her glowing with this "I have leverage over you" energy, smirking like he'd won the lottery, and hit her with the "So, you're pregnant." OP looked him dead in the eyes and dropped the ultimate nuke. Not anymore, thank God. The way he literally doubled over in psychic agony, the way his manipulative little dreams shattered like that bathroom door, it was better than any physical retaliation. OP got her stitches, but she gave him a wound that no doctor could ever sew up. OP was honestly just trying to secure the bag and get some sleep for a job interview, but their younger brother was being a literal NPC. This man was upstairs playing Call of Duty like his life depended on it, screaming into his headset and stomping his feet so hard that OP's room felt like a 4D cinema experience they didn't ask for. OP tried to be a girl boss and ask him to chill, but he was in his villain era and did not care. OP knew if they just yanked the plug, the brother would go full crash out mode, so they had to be sneaky. They had to be demure. Instead of a full-on blackout, OP went full hacker core. They logged into the router settings on their phone while laying in bed. Every time the brother started doing too much, screaming or shaking the floor, OP would just change the Wi-Fi password for a split second and then flip it back. It was a literal Pavlovian experiment. The brother thought the servers were just mid, but in reality, OP was the one pulling the strings. Eventually, he'd get so tilted by the bad connection that he'd just log off and go to sleep. The funniest part? After OP moved out, the brother actually said the Wi-Fi felt faster. OP just hit him with the, yeah, probably less bandwidth usage, and kept the secret tucked away. Imagine getting ghosted by your fiancé of 3 years, only to find out he's marrying your best friend at the same venue you already paid a non-refundable deposit for. This story is about the white dress war and the $50,000 receipt. So, OP's ex-fiancé, we'll call him Chad, because of course, thought he could just block OP and use the wedding venue she paid for to marry the girl he was cheating with. He actually told her, "Since it's already paid for, it would be a waste if we didn't use it." The level of delusion is actually astronomical. But OP didn't just sit there and cry, she went into full CEO mode. Since the contract was in her name, OP waited until exactly 48 hours before the ceremony, long after the friend had sent out the invites and bought the flowers. OP called the venue and didn't just cancel. She redirected the entire $20,000 catering budget to a local animal shelter gala and told the venue to lock the doors on Saturday. When the wedding party showed up in their gowns and tuxes, the gates were literally padlocked. OP even sent a courier to the bride with a single note that said, "Receipts don't lie, but your husband does." The wedding was canceled, the deposit was gone, and the groom had to explain to 200 guests why they were standing in a parking lot. Don't try to build your happily ever after on someone else's down payment because the bill always comes due, and OP is the one who keeps the books. Next case is about the ghost of projects past and the LinkedIn L of the century. Imagine being so chronically bothered that you spend 2 whole years crafting a hate folder in your brain, only for it to blow up in your face like a glitter bomb of professional failure. OP used to work for this manager named Rob. Now, Rob was the type of boss who loved to play finders keepers with other people's ideas. One time, OP politely corrected the record in a meeting to make sure their hard work was actually acknowledged. Rob smiled, nodded, and OP thought they were Gucci. OP eventually moved on to bigger and better things, thinking the vibes were neutral. Fast forward 2 whole years, OP is manifesting a dream senior role, and the hiring manager is vibing with them through 3 rounds of interviews. But then, Rob enters the chat. He wasn't even a listed reference, but the hiring manager found him on LinkedIn and reached out. Rob saw his moment to shine and labeled OP as difficult and not a team player. He really thought he was ending a career, but he was actually just outing himself as a hater. The hiring manager called OP and was basically like, "Hey, this random man is talking crazy, care to explain?" OP stayed unbothered. They didn't trash Rob. They just gave the hiring manager the contact info for 3 other coworkers who actually liked working with them. 2 phone calls later, the truth was out, and OP secured the bag. The best part? The week OP announced their massive new promotion, who shows up in the Who Viewed Your Profile notifications? Rob. He had to sit there and watch OP level up while knowing his little sabotage mission failed spectacularly. Next case is about the 6-figure stall and the $200 shrug. Imagine being so catastrophically deluded that you think someone else's assigned parking spot is your own personal VIP lounge just because you're too lazy to walk from the back of the lot. OP works at this mid-sized company where the parking situation is a literal Hunger Games, but OP has a prime spot right by the entrance. Enter Derek from the 3rd floor, a man who clearly skipped the day they taught sharing in kindergarten. Derek starts snaking OP's spot multiple times a week because he rolls in late and doesn't want to hike from the visitor lot. OP tried to be a literal saint. A polite note? Ignored. A face-to-face conversation? Derek nodded along like a bobblehead, and then parked right back in the spot the very next morning. Even an HR email couldn't stop this man's main character syndrome. He really thought he was untouchable, but OP was busy playing 4D chess while Derek was playing hopscotch. OP checked the building bylaws and realized Derek had officially exhausted his get-out-of-jail-free cards. The next time the silver Honda was sitting in that stolen spot, OP didn't send a text, didn't leave a note, and didn't even sigh. OP just dialed the towing company, went upstairs, and enjoyed a premium cup of coffee. By lunch, Derek's car had vanished into thin air. He came storming into the office, face turning 50 shades of red, demanding to know who called the tow. OP didn't even break a sweat, just looked up, gave a nonchalant shrug, and went back to work. Derek had to cough up $200 to bail his car out of impound, and suddenly he discovered that the spots in the back of the lot actually worked just fine. If today's stories taught us anything, it's that the high road is a lot less crowded than the one paved with petty brilliance and legal loopholes. Before you go, which of these 9 stories had you screaming at your screen? Drop a comment below. I'll be pinning the most savage take. Subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a moment of the madness. Sleep well, jurors. We'll see you back in court next time.